All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we are digging into a totally fascinating, high-stakes explainer. We're going to break down the incredible journey of a guy who set out to answer that age-old question, can you actually beat the house? But here's the catch. He didn't rely on luck. No way. Instead, he teamed up with a crew of notorious banned casino experts to help him legally cheat his way to doubling a massive bankroll. What follows is just a wildly entertaining roller coaster of math, physics, and, well, human psychology. Okay, let's dive into this. We're starting right at the starting line with $10,000. That was the initial bankroll for this wild experiment. The goal was pretty straightforward, but honestly incredibly ambitious. Use strategies that casinos absolutely despise to turn that 10 grand into 20 grand. Basically, it was the ultimate high-stakes stress test of that old saying, the house always wins. So it really begs the question, right? Is there an infinite money glitch in real life? Like, can legal cheating techniques, strategies that literally just use pure math and observation, mathematically guarantee a win? Today, we're going to map out the entire incredible rise, the calculated ascent, and the frankly devastating fall of this exact experiment. Now, to really understand what happened here, we gotta define our terms. Have you heard of advantage play? Basically, it's the use of legal strategies, things like advanced math, physics, or just really keen observation, to gain a statistical edge over the casino. And let me be super clear about this. We are not talking about illegal theft or marking cards or hacking. Nothing like that. We're talking about a highly calculated mechanical mastery of the games themselves. It's essentially trying to take a game of pure chance and turn it into a game of pure skill. So let's get into Section 1, the art of advantage play. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how they started. The whole strategy kicked off by tackling the invisible algorithms of slot machines, and they did this with the help of a guy known as Professor Slots. His 5-spin method is absolutely fascinating. Step 1, you locate a machine that's super visible from open areas or bars. Why? Well, because the casino literally wants bystanders to see people winning, right? It entices them to play. Step 2, play 5 minimum bets just to test the algorithm. Step 3, if you get a small win, you go all in. The underlying theory here is that these high-visibility machines are deliberately programmed to pay out more frequently as a psychological marketing tactic. Let's move over to the craps table and see how this edge translates into the physical realm. Look at the difference here between a normal craps player and Dominic Lorigio, aka Dom, who is notoriously known as the 8th best gambler in history. A normal player is just chucking the dice, right? Relying purely on that tiny 2% chance of going on a long streak without rolling a 7. But Dom uses physics. He actually calculates the exact height of his throw, the rotation of the dice, and the wall bounce to literally avoid rolling a 7. And during this experiment, he successfully threw 35 times in a row without hitting a 7. I mean, that is just an unbelievable display of physical control. But, how did these strategies actually play out in real life? Well, as you can see, it was a totally volatile roller coaster. Professor Slots' algorithm method initially lost them $500. But after finding the right machine and making massive $75 spins, they actually walked away with a $600 profit. Then you have Dom's physics method, which won $250 super quickly. But the physical toll of advantage play is very real. Dom eventually lost $800 just due to sheer physical fatigue. The house edge was definitely fighting back. All right, moving on to Section 2, counting cards to $19,000. So with the bankroll fluctuating like crazy, our protagonist decided to ditch the volatile games and step into the highly mathematical, high-stakes world of blackjack. But to conquer blackjack, he needed the ultimate expert. Enter Mickey Mace. According to the source material, Mickey is banned from literally every single casino in Vegas after winning over $32 million. The guy is a card-counting savant. But obviously, since Mickey couldn't actually step foot inside a casino without getting tossed out by security, they had to rig up this incredibly modern, high-tech workaround. The mechanics of this remote blackjack heist were just brilliant. It's like something out of a movie. First, the protagonist sat at the table wearing Meta smart glasses equipped with a hidden camera. Second, Mickey Mace watched that live feed all the way from his house in Los Angeles. Third, Mickey mathematically counted the cards in real time. And finally, he dictated every single move directly into a hidden earpiece, telling him exactly when to hit, when to stand, or when to double down. The dealer had absolutely no idea she was playing remotely against a $32 million math genius. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is just the sheer effectiveness of that strategy. It's undeniable. Starting at $10,000, they applied Mickey's card counting and shot up to $15,100. By the time they finished this massive high roller run, where they were betting thousands of dollars a hand, they peaked at $19,320. Guys, that is 93% of their ultimate goal. Pure mathematics, strict discipline, and expert guidance literally brought them right to the finish line. But here comes section 3, the gambler's fatal flaw. Okay, this is the moment where logic, advantage play, and all that beautiful math are completely thrown right out the window. They get replaced by raw emotion, adrenaline, and just overwhelming greed. This terrifying psychological shift is captured so perfectly by the protagonist's friend, Doha. Seeing his buddy spiraling, Doha actually pleaded with him, saying, "I promise you we're going to lose all this money, $38,000 or die trying." You see, when someone goes on a massive winning streak, dopamine just completely hijacks the brain. The totally rational goal of hitting 20 grand and walking away, well, it just wasn't enough anymore. The thrill of the gamble completely consumed the discipline of the advantage play. So, against all rational advice, he took the entire $19,320 and walked straight over to the roulette table. And look at this chart. In roulette, the mathematical probabilities are totally unforgiving. Red is a 49% chance, black is a 49% chance, and then there is that tiny, terrifying 2% sliver for green. Betting your entire bankroll on a single spin of roulette is the absolute exact opposite of advantage play. It is surrendering entirely to chance, completely abandoning all the expert math and calculated physics that built the bankroll in the first place. And here is where the story reaches its absolute devastating climax, the 2% disaster. Completely ignoring his friend's pleas and throwing away all that mathematical discipline, he bet everything, over $19,000 on black. The wheel spun, the ball bounced, and it landed on green. No way, right? A massive stroke of incredibly bad luck, a literal 2% statistical anomaly, wiped out days of calculated effort in just a matter of seconds. $0. Just let that sink in for a second. Despite utilizing some of the absolute greatest advantage players in the world, despite having a multimillionaire card counter literally whispering in his ear, and despite mathematically beating the house edge for 2 straight days, he lost it all. Because the house's ultimate trap isn't always the mathematical edge of the game itself. The ultimate trap is the psychology of the player. Which brings us to our final provocative thought for today. The hardest thing to do in a casino isn't winning, it's leaving. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to reflect on that. The clash between cold, hard logic and human nature is just profound. You can have all the math, you can have all the experts, and you can have all the technological advantage in the world, but if you cannot conquer your own human nature and greed, the house will eventually win. Thanks for learning with me today, and I hope this leaves you with something super fascinating to think about.